Hey, now you probably found this video because you got the Polyend Tracker and you're wondering, can I transfer my songs onto the Tracker Mini? And they do have a lot of information there to say this is forwards compatible, like songs from 1.7 is going to work on 1.0 on the Tracker Mini. But my question is, can the Tracker Mini actually transfer songs onto the original Polyend Tracker? So this video is a bit of a test and a run through how I got the songs backwards compatible and some of those little tiny things that might cause issues. So let's get straight into this one. Alright, I've got my Polyend Tracker and Tracker Mini all set up ready to go because really this is a video to test like how this transfers onto the Tracker Mini, but vice versa, how the Tracker Mini transfers back onto the big Polyend Tracker and the little issues that could probably pop up. And for noting, this is 1.7.1, so this is the latest firmware, as well as a Tracker Mini that's on 1.0. So just for clarity's sake when you watch this video, but really what I'm going to do is I've made an album on here. I've got a whole bunch of music, so I've taken one of those files and brought it across. So if I jump straight in, I'm going to open it. So human material, it's off my album, so I have a sense of what it's going to sound like. So I'm just going to open that one, let it load. Like you probably saw, I tested it before, but yeah, it pretty much works. So we jump out, we go back into song mode. And so if we play it from somewhere a little bit further in the mix, like it's hitting about the right point. To my ears, that actually sounds pretty on point, and like it does have a few features on here like in ramped up like dynamic range and that, so I was wondering if that was going to have issue. But when I did my album, I have run them all on the Polyend Tracker beforehand just to make sure that they're all up to date, because it does change the file type a tiny bit. But yeah, like as they say, a lot of this stuff is about transferring onto the Tracker Mini, and like there is a lot of documentation about like how it's going to transfer forward. But the key thing that I want to do in this video is how it transfers back, because I do enjoy the Tracker, and like for the Tracker Mini, I find it I'm really using it out in public as a way to carry a music device around really discreetly. Like I just leave it in my backpack. So what I've done is I've taken the last song that you probably saw on my channel and I've put it onto the Tracker Mini. So if I just jump in and we are going to open it. So I've got my Tracker Mini backwards compatible, Jolly Bean chip tune. So what I'm going to do, let that open, and I have a sneaky suspicion it's going to work because programmer mine says, why change the file type too much between the two? And it looks like it works. So everything is loaded and I've just changed the cable over so we can listen to this one. And if I was just to hit play now, that actually sounds pretty good as well. There's probably a little bit of saturation, but I feel that's just from how I've set up the tracker itself, not like when I usually record, I record at a little lower volume. So that works, and really this is the way I want to play, because I want to take the trackers live, so this is how I play on stage, but having some way to make the music out and about. And it doesn't mean like I'm solely fixated on this one. It's going to work both ways, but there's a few little issues that could happen because like the Polyend Tracker was made a while ago. This is quite recent. There's a lot of different things that they've done to the Tracker Mini. One being stereo samples, because this only works with mono samples. This works with stereo samples, so you got to take that into account. When it comes to instruments, so as you can see there, it's quite a chunky bit of memory used up, where on the Tracker Mini it's only like 9%, because this has about 6 minutes of audio from looking at documentation. I'll put a thing if that's incorrect, and this is about 133 seconds of audio that you can manage. And typically, like I usually use a lot less. I was just throwing some wavetables at it to see what happens to make some like chippy dippy tunes, but yeah, it sort of gives me a perspective of like what I can do with these machines. Now, there is another thing, because I talked about wavetables, is there is stereo wavetables on the Tracker Mini. And what I've done is I've made a project that has one of them loaded. So I'm just going to open that one now. So we'll open that and we'll have a listen. But I really think what's going to happen is it's going to just default to the left channel. It's not going to do any mixing. So we'll just check out the sample loader. This is in real time as well. So it looks like it has defaulted to the left channel. Makes sense. And if we scroll through the position, like, yeah. So we're not going to get stereo wavetables on this, so you just got to keep that in mind. And the other thing too, because of this memory issue, if you're making something that's quite large and taking up a lot of the memory space, we might see something happen to the Polyend Tracker. So what I've done is I've got this mem file where I just filled out the memory on the Tracker Mini, and I wanted to test what it will do. So I'm just going to open that. We don't want to. And we'll see what happens. I'm pretty sure it's going to throw an error code or probably crash. So we'll see what happens. Okay, so I was expecting it to throw an error, but what it looks like it's done is actually stopped loading instruments after it's filled out the memory. And it's not like maxed out 100% when it can't load anymore, it just stopped loading the instruments. But if we check out the pattern view, all that pattern information's come across. So that's actually interesting to keep in mind, because like all that note information will still be there and you probably want to reconstruct the instruments in some way, but it's just a way of thinking with the Tracker Mini. If you want to make it backwards compatible with the Polyend Tracker, we'll suffix this with that 1.7 and 1.0 is they might change this further on, like if they start adding new features and ways to edit the pattern with this one, that backwards compatibility might be lost. So that's something to keep in mind. But right now, I'm very happy to see that they're both cross-platform. So in the end, I hope you found this one useful, because I do enjoy the Polyend Tracker as well as the Tracker Mini, and I'm finding I'm using them for different things. So if you're just looking to transfer your songs from one to the other, or going through some process of figuring out if you want to keep both or offset one to buy the other one, I hope this is just giving you that little nugget of information to help you out, because really I'm going through a process of organizing all my files, and it's just nice to know that they're going to work on both. So in the end, if you found this one useful, definitely give it that thumbs up, because it does tell the algorithm to point this out to people. And really that backwards compatibility part, that's why I found a little bit interesting. There's not much information on the internet, so yeah, just throw this out there to see what people think. And if you do have any comments or queries, or feel like I didn't touch anything about the compatibility, please feel free to leave a comment down below. I can test it out and just make sure that this is sort of like a body of information for someone that's looking at this. So hopefully you enjoy this one, and I do have a bunch of Polyend Tracker content, and I'm looking to start doing some Tracker Mini content as well. But really, a lot of this stuff is compatible, so if you're looking for Polyend Tracker content, I do have a bit of that on my channel here. So if you want to stick around, I look forward to seeing you next time.